Hey everyone, this is Will from Mature Minded Gamers, and today we're going to be taking a look at Exceed. We're going to be looking at the Street Fighter set here. This one has the M. Bison, Cammy, Guile, and Ken in the box, and as you can see, it has these little tuck boxes. Now, the cool thing about it is with this game is each character has their own complete deck. There is no chasing specific rares or anything like that, which is actually pretty cool. And the game actually comes with these little tuck boxes, which is really awesome to be able to store all of the cards that you need inside. So with this character, for example, you're going to be getting, with Ken, you're going to be getting, his cards, kind of shows what cards are in his deck. Now, this is something you would give to your opponent, I guess, so that you can see what they can be expecting to see. You also, each character comes with a action card as well as a rules card, which is really awesome because I'm surprised they just didn't include two of these, but each character has one for their decks, which I think is awesome. There's no reason not to go ahead and print that, and I think that is an absolute brilliant idea from Level 99. The game also does come with one set of these 9 cards, and these 9 cards are going to be laid out to show the battlefield. We'll kind of show that when we do the setup. And then you've got your character card, your leveled up side here, as well as your character specific cards, as well as all the generic cards are going to be coming in each of the characters. All the Street Fighter characters have these set cards in them, and then these are the unique to Ken himself. All right, in the Exceed fighting system, what players are going to be doing is they're going to be trying to reduce their opponent from 30 health all the way down to 0. Now, in a standard game, players are going to be sitting across from each other. For the sake of this video, we're going to be showing you, based on this orientation here. Now, what you're going to have is you're going to start off, the first player is going to draw their 5 cards, and then the second player is going to draw 6. Now, you'll notice that there's a lot of icons. There is a lot of keywords that you're going to see in the game itself. And it's not that bad if you're used to different keywords in other games like advance, towards, pull, push. And if you're familiar with the fighting game of Street Fighter, you're going to understand like the EX meter, you're going to understand your health, you're going to understand, advancing towards and then punching and kicking and all this other stuff. So there's different actions that players can take on their turn, and they are pretty simple. So you can take one action and then you get to draw a card at the end of your turn. Now, the player that has advantage is going to be the player that is the active player. Now, there are instances where the same player could actually be pressing their advantage and going twice. So the different actions you could take is you could prepare, you're going to be able to draw a card, and then at the end of your turn, you're going to be able to draw another card. You can move, you can pay a force, which simply means you can discard a card out of your hand to move a space. You can pay an extra force if you switch sides. Now, switching sides essentially just means going from here to here. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to be discarding 2 cards out of your hand to skip this space because no 2 players can occupy the same space and advance to this side. So essentially getting on the other side, either being able to get out of a corner if you're kind of needing and you're kind of trapped and you're stuck in that maybe one position away. And we'll talk about this instances here in a minute. You could also boost, you could pay force to use a card's boost effect. Cards with the plus symbol. So if you look here, you're going to notice the little brown controller looking diagonal system there. And what that means is it stays in play until after a strike completes. Now, a strike we'll go over in just a second. You can also change cards. You can spend any amount of force to draw that many cards. Essentially, you discard cards to draw that many cards. You can reshuffle. Once per game, you can reshuffle your discard and deck to form a new one. You can exceed. You can pay gauge to flip your character card over and gain your exceed power. Now, when you look at this right here, you notice that there is the different gauge that you're going to have. And that's what this little card symbol means. And then you also have this symbol here, which is the critical effect symbol as well, and what that really costs you to be able to do critical effects. You can also strike. Now, what striking does is, like, let's say I have my 5 cards in my hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My opponent has their 6 cards in their hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. And what each player is going to do is they're going to be able to take a card out of their hand. And let's say I declare a strike. I make sure that I have a card that would actually be able to hit. And we'll talk about how that works in a second. I'm going to play it face down. My opponent then has options. He could either take a card out of his hand and play it as well. Okay. Or what he could do is he could do a wild swing. That means he takes the top card of his deck and places it face down here. Now, once players have played their cards face down, both of the cards are flipped, knowing that it is Ken's active turn. That could come into play here in a second. And what we're going to compare is we're going to pair a couple different things. One, we're going to make sure that it is a valid attack. So range 1 to 2. He is 2 away, so 1, 2 spaces away. Then we're going to compare the speeds. Now the speed of Ken's cross is going to be 6 versus the dive for M. Bison of speed 4. Now the 6 is going to beat the 4, so that means this card is going to go off first. It has 3 power. That means that the M. Bison will take his power from 30 down to 27. Now you'll notice here in the white it has an after effect that says retreat 3. So what that means is retreating is 1, 2, 3. I can move Ken 3 spaces back. Now after the effects, from what I've been able to ascertain from the rule book, have to happen. If you actually have an after effect, you have to do it. You can also notice that there is the bottom ability, which again, that is going to be the boost effect, which you can play that card down. That allows you to run. You can move up to 3 spaces, and then his is tech, choose and discard a boost and play. It costs you force to be able to play these. This one is particularly in 0. This one is 0 as well. So after this fight attack resolves and he moves his 3 away, we then look at Bison. Now he had no armor on his card, and there was also on his card, there was also no guard. Now what that means is he's going to not only take the 3 damage, but because he has no guard, then he is going to get stunned. Now what that means is his attack card simply gets discarded. Well, let's take into the account, let's say M. Bison actually had a card that had a guard on it. This particular card is called Block. Now, this card everyone has in their deck. Now, what you're going to notice, this one has armor of 2. So in the instance that we started with this, and let's say this was the first type, speed 6, does 3 power, his armor is 2, okay? That means he's only going to take 1 damage. The number 1 did not exceed his guard of 3. That means he does not become stunned, and any effects of this card would then be able to resolve. Now, when a hit successfully lands on an attack, the card goes to your EX gauge. And that's how you're going to be able to use to either flip your card over, become a little bit more powerful based on each character's unique abilities, or pay for exciting new attacks that are absolutely brutal and powerful. So for example, let's say I had played Guren Senpaiku, and I had cards in my strike pile already. And what that means is I could pay my EX gauge of 3 to make this attack actually happen. I have to pay that to do this super attack. And again, this would go into play as well. Now, another kind of attack you can do is if you have 2 cards that are exactly the same, you could play them both face down. And when you do that, all of your stats get a +1. Your power, your speed, your armor, and your guard, which is pretty awesome. The only thing that doesn't change is still the range. Now, players are going to keep going back and forth playing this and a couple of other things that we're not going to go over in this video. But the game actually plays not only fast, furious, but very, very even. I haven't seen a game yet that is just completely one-sided. It feels incredibly balanced. I'm excited to be able to get more into the Street Fighter. At least in this core set, I haven't seen anything that is completely unbalanced. You know, again, each character is very unique in the aspect of these cards that are specific to them. And you know, the different, I guess I should mention the different ways that you can lose. Either get your health reduced all the way down to 30, or you actually go through your deck twice. Once you've gone through your deck 2 times, then you are essentially too exhausted to continue to fight. But man, the game is a lot of fun. It's not that expensive either. $29.99 for one of these little packs, and you get 4 different characters. Again, in this particular box, I got Ken, Guile, Cammy, and M. Bison. I mean, there's all the different characters you can think of in Street Fighter. I mean, obviously not all of them yet. They've got Shovel Knight coming out. They've got a lot of other sets. This is a very cool fighting system, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I think you would too. All right, everyone, that was Will talking about Exceed Fighting System from Mature Minded Gamers. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to see other great content from us. And if you'd like to maybe even see a playthrough of this, leave a comment and a like, and we will gauge that response to see if people are interested in a playthrough. All right, everyone, take care.